Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic number GH-UL831-26D. This is a concealed surface bolt. It's a concealed mount surface bolt is what this is, in a satin chrome finish. Let's take a look at it. Don't sell a lot of these bolts, but frankly can't tell you why we don't, because they're an attractive bolt. You don't see any of the screws that mount the unit to the door. That's really all you see. Obviously it can be used as a top or a bottom bolt. Concealed mounting, tamper-proof. It's UL listed. 8-inch long. This is the size. This is what you're going to install down onto the door. Let's get that stuff back in there for a moment. Oh. And there's oil inside of there, so let's take a look at that. 1-inch throw, 1.5" projection, and again 8-inch long. Let's take some dimensional properties of this item. So they've got it at 8-inch long and 1.5" projection. Indeed, 8-inch long. Projection is 1.5". I would say that would include the knob. Indeed, maybe 1 9/16. It's going to have a width about 7/8. Okay. The bolt body itself, everything off the face of the door, is going to be right at about 3/4 inch. They say that this is satin chrome, so that means it's made of steel with a satin chrome finish. Everything on here appears to be steel. The strike plate, this would be this is kind of like a universal strike, in fact, in the sense that you'll install this. We'll go over the strikes, but you'll install that on a push side mount. This is a mortise style strike that's also made of steel. Everything here is basically made of steel. So the dimensions we've covered. Now, where are you going to use this? Well, anywhere where you want to be able to secure an inactive door, or maybe add extra security to a single door, I suppose. Obviously not a path of emergency egress. That would be important to note. It is UL listed, so you can use this in certain instances on pairs of fire doors. Pairs of fire doors would be something where you would not have any... you can have a pair of fire-rated doors, say an electrical closet. You can't have people living on the other side and have that inactive door held with a manual set of bolts. But if there's no occupancy on the other side, as you would have in an electrical closet, having bolts like this secure the inactive door would be is permissible. So installing this item, and there is a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure, which is just exactly that. We'll show you this surface bolt along with another and the more common, the UL831 bolt from Transatlantic. Why one over the other? Probably just because the UL831 would be more common. Why that one? It is just indeed because it's more common. We don't see a lot of the UL831 because it's relatively unusual. Not every importer of hardware makes a UL831 version, but everyone does make, even domestic manufacturers make a UL831 type. So I think that's why you're going to see it. You'll bump into it a lot. The foot bolt is nice. Sometimes those are sold. The security bolt is rather uncommon, and it's been a while since I've sold any, but it seems like when I do sell that 835 SE, I'll sell them a couple of dozen at a time. The barrel bolt, the 832 BB, people like that bolt because you can padlock it, and that is attractive to some people in certain instances, is why they'll use that barrel, just a common 8-inch size barrel bolt. Very typical. This cannot be padlocked, but it's a bit more presentable, I suppose. It looks a little sleeker, a little nicer, and maybe just because of the looks is why you would achieve, is why you would purchase this. You want to achieve a cleaner type of look. So installing this item is going to be literally by you sliding this out of the housing, and there is, as I found earlier, oil inside of there, a little bit of lubrication, and that's fine. Installing it, mounting it, is going to be a result of the screws, and there are sheet metal screws and there are machine screws, depending on what you're putting it down to, that will allow you to install. And there are not installation instructions, so we're going to figure out how many screws they've given us. Okay. So it seems to me that they're going to want all 3 screws. There are 5 each of the machine screws and the flathead sheet metal screws. Okay. Does seem to me that they're going to want screws in all 3 of these locations. Don't know why all 3. That might be revealed after it's installed, but I'd be tempted to say that the 2 would be adequate. Having not installed this in the past, I don't know what is forcing all 3 of those to be installed. But you do have enough screws to put them all in. The point is once you get this located on the door, okay, you're going to probably mark where you're going to lay this out. This would be in the locked, and then I would say a flush condition. Well, it will be a flush condition, will be the unlocked position. The projection is going to be equal to, well, they say that it's an 1 5/8" projection. That would be the projection off the face of the door again. The throw is 1 1/16, and that's going to be this dimension. And it's really closer to an inch, or 15/16, okay? So 1 inch is nominally the length of throw. Yeah, length of throw is 1 inch. My tape measure is telling us it's just shy on that. After you get this plate mounted down, you will then, this will be mounted, but all 3 screws. There are 3 screws there. I don't know why 3 would be required in that asymmetrical shape, but nonetheless, there they are. You'll slide the housing down over there is the cap that's in there. So you'll slide it down from the bottom or from the top, depending on where you're installing it. Then what you're going to do is you will install the cap at the other end with its machine bolt to finish off the installation. You'll see that you've got a hole here and a hole here, and that they're of different sizes. You're going to install So the installation of this is going to be, you've got a large hole on one side and you've got a smaller hole on the other side. The block too has a larger hole and then a smaller hole, and that hole is threaded. It's tapped. Let's put the large hole to the large hole. Slide the block right into place. Slide it right in. Then you're going to take the bolt that's included and insert that into the hole. And then you are going to, with a small screwdriver, just tighten that down. And you'll be able to secure that to the point where it will then be held captive inside of the unit itself. And that bolt will extend all the way through and sit into this hole. I could probably take another 2 revolutions, and let's get the screwdriver and do that. Okay. See how tight that gets there. Oh yeah, sure. So just another turn. Basically got that tight. Now we're at a point where it's completely captive. Got that bolt on that's there. Nice and attractive sort of installation. For the cost, I would have really no reservation to use this. I guess I could understand why someone may say, well, you know, it's not a solid bolt like the Ul831 is. Well, that's true. It's not. But it sure conceals the mount point, and you know, if someone's going to back the car into the pair of doors to bend them open, or go to it with a screwdriver, it'll probably be something else on the bolt that would fail anyway, like the installation method. Now, let's talk about the strikes that we have here. And you're going to be able to install this in a rim mount or in a surface mount. If you anywhere where you can make the two meet is going to work fine. The point is that they're flush when they're installed, and that these holes at least are going to be concealed. So you could install this. You would install this if you had a application where you were installing it on the push side of the door, so that it could mount up like this or down like this. You could also install this where you were able to have a single door on a push side mount and install this down to the stop, and then this door will literally bolt here. So you could have a door where you have a lock set and a deadbolt, but then I've seen people install a surface bolt up at the top and one down at the bottom on a single door. This strike would certainly work for that. Obviously, you'll access the screws through this hole where the bolt's going to be going into, and when it's in the locked position, those screw holes are covered. Overall height of this surface strike, 2 1/4. Overall projection, about 15/16. Overall width, 1 inch. Okay. Then you have what's called a mortise strike, a flat strike. This can be installed in really the same sort of scenario. You might see this installed down onto a threshold is probably where you're going to see that. That might work there, or if you've got a wood frame and you want to mortise this up into the header, that would work as well. The issue that I'm not really seeing very easily here is how you're going to install this on the pull side of a door. And I can understand how you might surface mount this and then have the bolt work in this area, but it's really not intended to go that way. Although I could see how it would. I wouldn't be surprised if I actually saw this installed, but it's not intended for that installation. But again, I've seen everything, so that would be interesting. This would be a strike that you'd see at a threshold, or maybe mortised into a wood frame. This is something that you're going to surface mount. You could certainly surface mount the flat strike as well, but you're generally going to see it surface mounted, generally. Width of the flat strike, about 1 inch. Overall height, about 3 3/8, it looks like. Okay. Now, finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the transatlantic hardware that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And the name Transatlantic is synonymous with good quality imported builder's hardware, and especially the exit devices, their ED501 series exit devices, along with their door closers, their 753 series door closers. We have sold those for years, and while a lot of people are going to opt for a door closer that will be not a fixed spring power, but in lots of instances, a 754 is going to work great because you don't have a requirement of low pounds of pressure and handicap compliance to open the door. They're very economical, and I can tell you that I don't recall that I've ever actually had verified failure of a closer from Transatlantic in a amount of time that would be measured in several years, if not 10, if not an entire decade. Great quality product. Their lock sets are good too, but I'm more partial to the exit device because the lock set is a lock set type that requires you reading the installation instructions and saying, oh, why do I have all these parts? You know, with the exit device and with the closer, it becomes immediately obvious to you. To me, that's elegance in design, but a great combination of material under that name. Any questions on the UL831 concealed mount, surface bolt, or any other transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.